Alright, well, we are live.
Welcome to WeTaku Anime Review. I am your main host, Jovan, and with me are my three smaller and less important hosts. That's totally how this show works. Introduce yourselves.
It is how it works.
I'm Thomas.
It's actually not how it works. No,
I'm
please don't hurt me.
Steven, and
I'm-
Javon's main.
I'm Allan, and I completely agree with Jovan.
No, don't do that. No, I don't want this. Oh god. Alright, so the coup d'etat has fallen through, and I will now be muting the rest of them for the... no. Today, we talked about Uchouten Kazoku. It was chosen by Steven?
No, it's Thomas.
Thomas. Alright, congrats. Tom, why?
Well, I think we're gonna get to that, but I loved it. I loved it. It was very good, and I watched it a couple winters ago or so. And
Alright, well, for those of you who haven't seen the show or are just joining us because you love the soothing sound of our gorgeous voices, here's the summary. In Kyoto, there are three kinds of residents: human, tanuki, and tengu. Shinigami Yasuburo is the third son of the Shirogama Tanuki family. His father, Suichiro, had been the head of the Kyoto Tanuki community until he was eaten by human members of the Friday Club. While taking care of an old tengu, fighting with other tanuki, and playing with a psychic human girl, Yasuburo approaches the truth of his father's death. This show makes it sound like he was actively pursuing that.
He was not.
The show is more like slice of life, but with tanuki.
It happened.
Yeah.
So that's our summary. If you would like to go and watch it, do so. But first, listen to our scores. See if it was actually good or not. Which leads us straight into my first score of the day, story. Now, this is a slice of life, which makes story... You never just judge it off of the story, is I guess what we've learned so far. However, I chose to judge today's based off of delivery of the story. And with that, and I will describe it later, I'm actually giving delivery of the story a 9.
It's a 9.5,
A
Jovan.
9.5. Oh man, I went hard. I wasn't sure. Alright, I went just almost all in. 9.5 was my score, and it was... I really liked how they delivered the story. But I would really love to get that discussion going after this. So, whoever's up.
I liked the story and the delivery of it also, I guess, but I didn't think the story really had too much interesting to it, but it was... I don't know. I did like it, and it seemed logical enough, so I gave it a 7.
Alright, I'm gonna start right out and say, to describe the show in one word, I'd say charming. I didn't actually think the story was that logical or coherent, really. It felt a little all over the place. The story didn't actually feel too important to me in a way. I wasn't invested in what was going on, honestly. I was much more invested in just the, I guess, slice of life aspect rather than what was actually going on. And I thought the story was kind of bland and incoherent, so I actually gave it a 6.
Okay. As for story, as a slice of life, I think it was alright. It wasn't... There's not much originality in it, so it's like something you could probably see somewhere else, but they did deliver it very well. However, the story really only starts about halfway through. I gave it a 7. I thought it was done well enough. It was entertaining enough, although I wasn't really that invested in it like Steven. But yeah. Onwards.
Onwards and forwards to animation and basically picture stuff.
It's characters.
Characters and not picture stuff. I am the best host. This is why I can't cause a coup d'etat, guys. I'm sorry. Not competent enough. Alright.
How's the coup d'etat? Sorry, continue.
Alright. For characters, I don't know. I think I gave it a 7.5.
Correct.
Woohoo! Today on Guess What Score I Gave, I will find out. Sorry guys, I may have given my scores in a jumbled rush of a strange period of day. So, I gave it a 7.5, which sounds about right how I'm feeling at this exact moment, because I think the characters were like, they did their jobs and they did them well, and I liked them and I cared about them to some extent. And I cared about some characters a lot more than others, as is usual, I guess. Especially Frog-kun. But, I really did like characters, however, I don't think any of them were... I mean, this show does not take itself seriously in the slightest, so I can't say... They didn't get a lot because the show didn't care enough, I guess. But at that point, I'm still giving it a 7.5.
I gave it an 8. I thought it was... all the characters, like Steven said, were charming. And the main character, I felt, gave a lot of respect to the people around him. And I thought that was really cool that, like, he was kind of, like, relaxed, but then... where he thought deserved it, you definitely saw how he took everyone seriously. And so I thought the main character was a very strong character in and of himself. But I did think the supporting cast was okay if his big brother was a bit forgettable. So I gave it an 8.
I gave characters a 7. I don't know, I don't think there was anything too special about them except the fact that they were like Tanukis or humans or Tengu, which we'll get into. But themselves, at one point in the show, they specifically define what each character is as a person, and I think that pretty much sums it up well. They define these characters and they stick perfectly to that for the most part. And in a way, it just kind of got old. It was like they were really charming at first, but at some point, I'm just like, you guys can do better. So I give characters a 7.
All right. Well, I gave it a 6, and I'll say right now I have kind of changed how I've scored things. I'm trying to balance around 5. So characters is still above average, but only slightly. Same thoughts as Steven. There wasn't much to them, and almost all of the characters you can pretty much sum up with like 1 or 2 words. So I gave it a 6.
Alright, and I've been trying to remember to do this at the beginning of character sections, but... So I just wanted to give a rundown of who I would consider the main characters, which would be the 4 sons of Soichiro. That is the ambitious one, the
Yaichiro,
lax one,
Yajiro,
the idiot,
Isaburo,
and the little one.
Yashiro.
You see, I heard you say the same name 4 times, therefore...
Yeah!
No, they're different.
And then you also have Ben 10, the psychic human girl who can fly.
An alien with a watch?
I never picked up on the psychic
Ben 10. She was described as a psychic in the My Anime list. It's fine. And,
is she a
I think she's just a human Tengu thing. And,
she was just abducted.
Yeah, and then the Tengu guy, whose name I don't remember.
Adakawa?
Sure.
Okay.
That's about it. Oh, and their mom.
And their mom.
And their mom. Okay, so moving on from that would be now animation? Or am I getting close?
You're on animation, yes.
Haha!
We need to organize
no
this
idea
better.
how I felt about this. I liked the animation. I think it was pretty good. I really enjoyed some of the transformation scenes, especially. There's one scene that stands out to me where the main character runs off of a bridge, like he was running on a bridge behind one pillar to become like a small tanuki again, and then jumps off the bridge, then flips himself over as a human male from the female form he was holding. And I really loved that one sequence, and that to me defined like, it's just such a beautiful looking sequence. I really loved that. So I believe I gave animation probably an 8.
0.5.
Woohoo!
Oh man.
Usually I have these written down.
Steven,
This
it's
is the
okay.
first. I apologize, everybody.
Steven, it's okay. I'm with you, basically.
I'm not a professional
basically the
man.
entire time.
All right.
If I remember correctly, I gave animation a 9.5.
You gave animation a 9 and characters an 8.5, which I didn't correct you on, but that's there.
So I gave animation a 9, and I thought it was absolutely beautiful. It's very smooth. And then they do a lot of stuff like that isn't typical. So they get the light shining right by Benton's face. It's one of my favorite scenes.
Oh,
And,
right. Yeah.
It just like drowns her out, and she's silhouetted, and it just looked very good. But it didn't try anything super duper interesting, and I would give a 10 for something like that, more like Tatami Galaxy or
Broke up the
Rock
6
Bottom.
camera angles, clearly.
Yeah, but so I gave it a 9.
So the one scene you were talking about, I'd say, is probably the most beautiful scene in the show, in my opinion, and it stands out more than any other. But beyond that, I thought it was not good. Now, don't get me wrong, I liked it a lot. I thought it was very charming. There was something about it I really liked. But from an objective standpoint, it was drawn pretty poorly. And I guess maybe that's just the style they went for, but I thought it was drawn kind of poorly. Even some of the scenes where there was a lot going on seemed a little choppy to me. There were some more fluid, like the one Javon was talking about, and then some prettier ones like you were talking about, but above all, I thought it was pretty below average, and if not for those redeeming qualities, I would have given it lower, but I gave it a 4.
Alright. Okay, I'm just gonna give my score right now. It's a 5. It's dead center average. There were times where it was good, yes, where he was jumping over the fence, and especially the train at the end. You guys know what I'm talking about, probably. The train was definitely beautiful, and it was fluid, it was moving in, like, way more than anything else in the show. But I also have problems with the consistency with the character designs. A lot of the faces were wonky a lot of the time. There was this one time when they were on the rooftops where Benton's body seemed a little off. So, dead center 5. Good stuff, bad stuff, and average stuff. All average to 5.
I guess the good stuff for me blotted out. And as for the drawing style, I thought, to me, it felt like a deliberate style of how they did that, just because of how the theme song was near the end, where you see the weird shots of Yasuburo.
Even if it was deliberate, it felt lacking to me. It felt like it was done poorly,
That's
whether it was
fair.
intentional or not.
And finally, we have sound, which it was serviceable to me. It was serviceable and nothing more. I did think it was slightly above average because I'm not a sound person or a music person, I guess. But it didn't make me feel, I didn't hate it, but I also didn't love it. But I was, I guess, more on the spectrum of not hating it more so. So I don't know what I'm trying to say here. It's a 6.
0.5. All of your scores had 0.5 on them. Also, I'm sorry to everyone who's like watching or who's watching and barely listening to us, which I mean, or rather who like skip to this part and try to look at the scores, because that score is not visible and you'll just have to listen to Jovan talk.
Aha. Poor overlay skills with Jovan.
It's more me. I don't know how to fucking change that color
Ah,
to
well.
something that actually appears.
They're there. They'll be okay.
All right. Well, with sound, I gave a 10. I thought it sounded awesome. I loved the crowd effects were like top notch. It sounded like a real crowd. like even I noticed at one point you could hear multiple people talking. You could hear crickets. You could hear birds, or like cicadas, and you could hear birds, and you could hear footsteps. And I was like, that sounds very realistic. Yet you can still hear the people talking over it very clearly, and that I didn't really like the opening song too much. It was okay, but just okay. And then the thematic music, I felt, did a good job taking the initial song and then making like a nice melodic piano version to it, and then just the weird, like, I guess, bamboo, the marimba type sounds that they play. I liked it. It went along with it well.
The belly thing.
The belly thing.
Okay. I love the opening so much.
I am mad scientist. So cool.
I love this opening so much. I always forget we can do 0.5s. I probably would have given it a 9.5, but the score that'll be on the screen is a 9. I agree that it was serviceable, but I also think it was pretty unique. I wasn't expecting to hear a lot of what I heard. Like, they had a lot of things to fit the scene. Like, sometimes they had this whole, like, mystery vibe going on with the music, and then other times just this kind of, like, kooky, crazy melody to go along when just weird stuff is happening. I don't know. It was pretty unique to me, and honestly, I'll probably go back and listen to some of these songs at some point. I thought it stood out. And the things Thomas was talking about, the, like, background sound effects as well, that was done really, really well. There was one specific scene where the voice acting got me. Like, I don't really want to spoil it, but, like, he was talking to the frog and then screamed, and I was like, what was that?
Oh god.
But I guess we'll get into that, maybe. I want to bring that up again because, oh god, that scream was terrible.
Oh, no, do
But
it. All right.
Cringe.
I think that may have brought it down to a 9 because, oh man. But I loved it a lot. I thought the sound was A+. I thought the music was A+. I'd say 9.5.
Okay. I thought the soundtrack was very well used. Although it's not something I haven't heard before, which I mean isn't a bad thing. They use a lot of Japanese style music with a little, like, modern twist to it. It reminds me a lot of Noragami, despite Noragami having come out afterwards. I just saw it first. The opening and ending I both love, really. However, I'm trying to balance around 5 once again, so I gave it a 7.
Alright, now, before we get into the spoiler section, I would like to make a comment about our scores. You'll notice that I don't think any of us consistently agree with each other on just about any score, with the exception of you guys are all pretty close to each other on story. Now, you might think that this format could be a bit arbitrary and dumb, but that's just part of our idiot blood. I just really wanted to say that.
Oh god. The splitting of the... Okay, spoilers first.
Alright, we're getting in spoiler section in 5, 4, 3, 2, now. Alright, spoilers are happening, and
Okay.
Alan, you were starting with something?
Oh yeah. Yeah, about the characters. The whole, like, the one word thing, and how they described it by splitting the dad's personality.
No, but you see, I loved that. This is my reasoning for that. These are not humans. These are Tanuki, and most of their decision-making process is completely lost on me. I have no idea any reason, I think all of them are dumb. I don't agree with, like, half of their decisions in the situation. And I think their personalities are much sillier than a human should be, and, like, much narrower than a human should be. However,
they justified every decision with the idiot blood.
Look, all
worked out.
Yeah, and all I can say is I would have much rather watched a show about the dad than the four sons.
Yeah.
For real.
The like initial the Japanese stories of the Tanuki though, they're all like sly and mischievous, but they always lack foresight and wisdom in everything they do. They're just like Kitsune. Pretty much the same story, except probably a little more benevolent than Kitsune typically are.
But can you even say that all of them were sly? Like, can you say the little brother was sly? Was the older brother sly?
A bit dense.
Listen, I was super. I'll save it for when we get through like the storyline because I want to have a good discussion about the last 4-ish episodes or so where everything comes to a crux. But first, I must ask the traditional question: who is your best girl?
It was the frog. The frog was the only one that really appealed to me.
100% the frog.
I like
The
his
frog.
main character.
Yasuburo is also he was in the contention, but the frog though.
The frog was my best girl.
Yeah.
But my second
Yes.
was the professor, the Tengu.
Yeah, the professor is pretty great as well.
Didn't like him very much.
He was a crotchety old man. What's not to like?
That's not a professor. That's a Tengu. I thought you guys meant
Oh,
the human professor who eats Tanuki.
No.
Oh no.
I didn't
I
know.
liked him too.
His voice made me very unhappy.
Yeah.
I liked his voice. I didn't like his character.
I'm glad we're all on the same page. Once more, I'm sure it's because of our idiot blood. I'm gonna keep using this forever.
The Tengu was also a professor, though.
Oh, was he?
Yeah, he was
They
referred
referred
to
to
as
him-
professor for like ever.
I think
I
it was Professor Otto.
Somehow missed that every time.
We could have got.
I think we had different subs. Yeah.
Calling him master.
I also
Crunchyroll.
got Master a lot. I only
Crunchyroll,
got
the
Master.
legal way.
Yeah, Crunchy.
Ah.
Aha! That makes a lot of sense. Not Crunchyroll, the broke way.
That probably also explains the Friday Club instead of the Friday Fellows, because that's.
I got Friday Fellows as well. Okay, so
Wait,
fun fact:
yeah.
if you watch on different websites, you will get different words.
wait. I think Thomas is the only one who didn't get Friday Fellows.
Yeah,
I did get Friday Fellows.
Wait.
I think we all did.
The My Anime List gave Friday Club, I think.
Oh.
Okay.
All right,
Oh.
so at least we're in agreement of Frog. So I want to talk about him for a little bit.
Oh,
Not as
there's
close
another
to-
thing. Every time the frog cried, it was those tears were moving so beautifully.
It was
Oh, I love
always
that.
a raindrop. He
It
never.
was always
cried.
a raindrop. He never actually cried. It was
They just-
raindrops that kept falling on his head.
No, there was the one. Okay,
Underneath
at
his
the
eyes.
very end he cried.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he
Oh.
did. On the phone.
On the phone he cried.
That's right.
And that was every single they worked really hard like on making sure we loved this frog more than any, and you know what, it succeeded. All of his dialogue was really good for like somebody who had exiled himself and like lived in a well as a frog. I do love that he was like, the only time I could ever do something was when I was drunk, and
He was
then like
a frog hermit.
what
He was just a frog hermit.
he was a frog hermit, but then like even when he was still a Tanuki, right? We were getting his backstory, he was like, I would never really do anything, I would just kind of sit around, but when I got drunk, me and my dad would go crazy and have a great time. And then I love that the solution to him being stuck in the well, I just love how his brother was like, alcohol, brother, alcohol, frog,
Suddenly,
brother.
brother's a train.
Like makes the frog chug it.
Suddenly, brother's a train.
I can't-
Suddenly, brother's a train.
I can't say I actually like the little brother though.
Alright,
Yeah,
so for the first most of the episodes, for the first 8 I think,
Hmm.
the show is entirely slice of life and the brother adds 100% nothing. The youngest. He's there to be cute. He's there. I assumed he was gonna get captured or something like earlier. I thought the Friday Fellows might have him. I thought like he would be used. No, he was for the most part just there. I guess they explained that because the only character trait he got was innocence, which I mean he had, but no, he was not there.
Why? Okay, I have a question.
Yo.
I'm pretty sure I just missed something. Why could he power things?
They didn't do a good job explaining
They
what
didn't
power
explain.
specifically they
I
had.
I was so confused the first time I saw it. I was like, did I miss a
I-
piece of
I-
dialogue?
I think that it's a power specific to him, like some Tanuki just randomly get other powers. I believe that, but that's just a guess because not a clue. That does lead me to why I gave the story such a high score, which is gonna sound super hypocritical once you guys hear me out. So,
I've already heard this.
the way that they gave the story, right? Like I said, I didn't judge this off of the story itself, which was generic, and I guessed most of it within like the first 3 episodes because, of course. But what they do is they don't tell you how the world works. Like during the running of the episodes, they don't, especially in the beginning, explicitly tell you like any social orders or what their powers are or like who they are in history for the most part. They just basically give you the bare bones. They're Tanuki, they're humans, they're Tengu, they interact, and watching them interact is fun. And you know what? They aren't wrong. Watching them interact was fun, but more importantly, I really loved watching my, like, I wanted to know how the world worked. I wanted to know how each part fit into society, where they were, how they acted, what powers they had, what responsibilities they had. And as the show goes on, they're very good at giving you just enough information to, like, answer you, but not enough information to quell your curiosity so that you kind of keep watching. I think if I had started off with the information for this show, I would have hated it, because there wouldn't have been anything keeping me continuing. I don't think it's interesting enough by itself. But because I was, like, constantly wanting to know more, and for the most part I did get my answers, to questions such as, how did the most powerful Tanuki ever get captured? And nobody really asked that question until much later. Or, you get the feeling that Tanuki are the bottom of the totem pole when it comes to social order.
Yeah.
And at the beginning, I had trouble wrapping my head around that, but by the end I was like, yeah, no, that sounds about right. Their powers come with like a very, very like limiting set of weaknesses, as well as they're just generally useless. I mean,
They taste good.
apparently they taste. I don't know. I don't even know that they tasted good. They were just eaten.
So
Yeah,
I want
some of
I want to
the
know if that. I want to know if that professor, like, does he just get a whole bunch of illegal animals and eat them, like tigers and stuff? Because it sounds like he just wants to eat a little bit of everything. That made me wonder if maybe he was even a cannibal, but probably not a cannibal, but could eat a lot of illegal things. Because Tanuki doesn't sound very illegal to eat if you're getting it from like the back of a store.
Oh, it's super illegal, I'm sure. I don't know, like, judging off of that professor, I get the feeling he would eat human if he didn't know the human. He seemed very, like, double standardy there. Like, it's love to eat them unless I know them, in which case it's wrong.
That really bothered me, but I like that they called him out on that.
Yeah.
Like, are you just making this up? Like,
I get the feeling he was just justifying his actions
I also
to
want to
himself.
bring up something about, like, that I began to realize in that episode, where he's, like, doing this whole, to eat is to love. I feel like the show tried really hard to be proverbial and deep throughout it, and I don't know, I feel like they were trying to be deep and missing the mark.
Oh, I actually got a different signal off of that. I was full in Tanuki mode. My thoughts were humans are weird and I don't want to try.
I don't know if it's actually illegal to eat a Tanuki.
They go through a lot of effort.
Yeah, but
On the other
more.
hand,
eat raccoon?
Tanuki are sentient is the problem.
I mean, in the show, yeah, like, I feel like it would probably be legal.
Oh,
But
they are
then,
sentient.
but then why didn't they just turn them into the cops?
Yeah, that's also what I was gonna say. See, at the same time, I don't know if humans typically know that Tanuki can transform. Like, I feel like that wasn't really explained, and some people seem to know.
Even
Like-
even so, like, despite all of that, even if a Tanuki were transformed and went into the police office, the police department, why? If it's illegal, then why? Why did you go through like years of being eaten?
I mean,
It's Tanuki's fate to sometimes end up in stew.
ha ha ha.
What I
Uh.
think the like thing is though is that most people don't like notice things. So you had the floating house at one point, and I think that's just like humans not noticing certain things. They kind of probably like the hobbits from Lord of the Rings. Like they just aren't really noticed unless they want to be, and then.
But like all they have to do is be like, yo, at this place at this time on this day, there's gonna be a caged animal that's gonna be eaten.
But I also get the feeling that Tanuki as a whole do not trust or like humans, and that includes cops.
The mother
like-
literally played pool with them.
Yeah, but that family was weird. Like,
The-
as far as
eccentric.
Tanuki standards go, none of them were normal.
but the mother, like the people, also didn't know the mother was a Tanuki.
Yeah,
Made
but it
very
didn't matter.
clear that she was also disguising her voice so nobody would know.
But it doesn't matter, you know? All that matters is that you can point them to this place and say there's a caged animal.
I don't know.
All right, I'm gonna go with my the reasoning that you gave. I think 2 podcasts ago, Alan. You know we're reviewing an anime, right?
That's so dumb. Also,
You know,
the bad guys are literally like 5 people against an entire society of Tanuki.
Yeah.
this is why I'm saying it's like kind of incoherent. It doesn't make much sense.
I don't know. When I was watching it, I felt full Tanuki mode, so my explanation for that bit was nobody expects Tanuki to be that evil. No
My
one.
thing is, I want to know what the rickshaw was, because there's just like a doll of a man just like running.
Oh yeah, apparently Tanuki have magic
Don't
that.
explain.
Well, it's not just that one. Their cousins had like that full small army of those robot dudes, of those like weird mannequin
That's right.
things.
Yeah.
I just assumed that like higher class Tanuki have those to do things for them.
Magic.
Magic. Alright,
Tanuki.
so that's the thing. I'm glad I don't know the answers to all of this. This is just me. But I don't want all of these answers. It's like the midichlorian effect. If I know it, then it's no fun.
I like kind of agree with you, and I think it adds a charm to like have this weird stuff going on that you don't really know like why. Like I think it adds some charm, but objectively I don't think like it's kind of incoherent.
It depends on how it's delivered, right? If it's delivered in the most scientific way possible, yes, it's not fun. But like they could give any stupid answer and it would still be better than no answer at all.
Yeah.
It's like just poor world building at that point, right? It's just this happens.
I still don't get how the tea house was drinking. Like
Everything's powered by alcohol.
It's powered by alcohol. I think it was more of they were just
right, but
dealing with the drunk master who's like.
was it sentient? I
No,
don't.
it definitely wasn't sentient. I don't.
It
believe.
looks
I
like everything's powered by alcohol. I wouldn't be surprised if the little kid can like shock things with power up alcohol. He just,
I'm like 90% sure he just chugs. All right.
Vodka from vodka.net and just like
Becomes railgun.
All right. Yeah. By the way, everybody who's watching this, we found out that vodka.net is a real thing, and this is very relevant to everyone's lives. All right. So, anywho.
I have like one more point. There's another show that like the weirdest shit happens. It's called Humanity Has Declined. The only explanation they ever give to any of the shit that happens in that show is that fairies do it. That's it. Fairies do it. Huh?
You do see fairies, and they're terrifying.
Okay. Alright, I just wanted them to like have this thing that they talk about, but they never show it. Like, oh yeah, no, it's tiny little elves. They move all the rocks, and I just want like
You never see them.
rocks, but you never see the elves. I just
Oh,
want
that'd be incredible.
So like any scene that like shows a Tanuki powering the rickshaw, or an explanation to why the kid has lightning powers, anything.
They like cross their arms and they're sitting in it, and then like when that one Tanuki came, he like freaked out and like rolled. I mean the stuffed Tanuki, and you like
Yeah.
broke the cart.
So it looks like it was connected to him like mentally somehow or something like
Oh.
that. I don't. To me, it was enough. Just to me, it was enough that like we got to see the world in action without like getting an explanation of it. In the same way that last week when you guys were all talking about what was the thing we watched last week? They made an anime. Thank you, Shirobako. And you guys talked about we don't need a backstory for these characters. We just like to watch them interact in the world, and that's how we're learning about their characters. To me, that's why I loved this show so much, was because in the same way that you guys enjoyed it for characters and I hated it, I enjoyed that for the world. I didn't need them to explain every little thing to me. I just like to watch it in action and watch the laws kind of write themselves as I keep going.
Yeah, I guess so, but like you need some kind of rule, right?
I entirely agree with you, Javon. Like, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it thoroughly. But it just, I don't know. I'm still trying to keep objective. Like,
my version of objective is, did I enjoy it? So actually, there's no objectivity whatsoever. That's what you guys are there for.
my objectivity is I'm incredibly biased.
Yes,
My
but I
first-
acknowledge it.
my first thought on this show was probably, wow, this art is terrible. I like it. Like,
See, I liked the backgrounds and stuff. I thought it was so beautiful. I thought it.
Yeah, the backgrounds were good. I had a problem with the characters, though.
I liked the character drawing as well. I liked how you notice that the transformations have rules, basically like Tanuki, like, or at least they can transform into anything, but they all have favored shapes. And even when like becoming a different gender or like different type of person entirely, you still kind of keep the vague same face unless you like actively.
They have
try to
rules
change
for
it.
that,
Also-
but nothing else.
also,
Man.
the lion with the bowl cut.
Also, the lion with the bowl cut. Can we
Oh,
talk about the
yeah.
bowl cut twins for a
I
second?
love that.
The bowl cut twins were amazing.
Ginkaku.
Sotomo!
Yeah, Ginkaku and Keikaku.
Ginkaku and Ginkaku.
Wait, no,
All these-
Keikaku means plan. TL note.
All they,
Kin
all
and
they
Gin.
said was Sotomo.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
were great. They were, I guess, like, partly the main antagonists, except they were never taken serious. Even when trying to murder the main characters, they were not taken seriously.
The main character's just like, oh, I'm just gonna slap you on the wrist and throw you in the water.
I mean, I'm glad he didn't. I'm glad he didn't kill them. However,
I would have done more than that. I would have.
I legitimately believe that they gave so little fucks about their like their evil Tanuki cousins that they were like, well, that was mildly irritating. I'm gonna go now.
Yeah.
They react too much to them. They just feed them. I don't know. They need to just straight face them. They'll be like, hey, oh, what the? I don't know. But they just need to like.
Just straight face them. That's what the older brother's for. And also, why does nobody else ever do that cool tiger thing? Because
They're all idiots.
Yusuru, main character boy. Thank you. Yusuburo, he always talks about, I am better at transforming than any of my family. I'm the best. Never once turns into anything threatening, ever.
Yeah, I really
There's-
wanted him to have like this big moment where he transforms into something amazing despite like all odds, like in the cage or something. But
Or like his dad did, becomes a mountain.
yeah, he just talks his way out of everything.
His like best transformation thus far has been an umbrella.
I'm not gonna lie, I was really disappointed with the cage thing.
All right, you can't
Because-
jump the done.
Yeah, no. All
There's butterfly.
the explanation is because you have to be like calm, right? Get fucking calm, turn into a mouse, crawl out, and then turn into a giant tiger.
Yeah, like their dad was totally calm sitting in that cage.
I honestly, yeah, I don't think it was about calm. Like, I know they said that, but I legit just feel like cages have some magical BS on
That's
TV.
No,
the
but-
vibe
but,
I
like-
got.
No, with the dad, it was just because I'm pretty sure that he was just really nervous around Benten, and Benten was literally there the entire time while he was
Yeah,
in the
that's
cage.
true, too. That's
But,
probably
like-
why she stayed.
Yasuburo,
I'm trying.
while he was in the cage, I don't know about you guys, I can't take those twins seriously. But even if
I
he was
think
like
that's the
so
point, though.
mad that he was like seeing red, could he not have calmed down?
Have you ever been so mad you're seeing red? Has
When
the
they
first
started
time your
talking on the
eyes
fucking
been-
phone and he gets like dejected.
All right, so let's imagine something here, okay? You are all about to be eaten. You've just been betrayed by your cousins, and for the first time in their life, they've made a competent plan and have drugged you. Also, you know all of your family is probably about to die. Is your first thought, man, inner peace. Yup. I am calm as... That's not logic. There's no logic to being angry. When you're angry, you're angry. You don't just suddenly not.
Alright. I know you said you wanted to talk about the last 4 episodes, so I think maybe we should move to that.
Alright.
And I also want to go ahead and ask, in the train scene, it was their brother. How did it suddenly also become the tea house or whatever that could fly? I don't
didn't like that, but I think I don't know.
I assume the drinky thing can convert any vehicle into a flying one or something, question mark.
But I mean, could the brother just have that in him at will? Like,
I was really confused as to that as well.
Yeah.
But it was also fun.
Just seemed convenient, but...
It was super convenient.
Wait.
Convenient. They probably were like, and then it goes off a cliff! And then what, John?
It flies!
Yeah!
They powered it with the, like, firework. Whatever they used in the cannon in that one episode. Right? I'm not crazy.
No, they powered it with the same drinking thing they powered the tea house with.
Yeah, that acted as a firework. It was just, like, they used that as a firework.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, like, that thing was part of the tea house. Like, that was the entire thing with the tea house. Like, this thing, you can pour alcohol in it and it can fly.
So I guess the assumption is you can put that thing into anything and it can fly.
But I still don't get, like, how they just combined because the train is, like...
I assumed it was I assumed that their alcohol doubled as, like, fuel. Yeah, jet fuel. And that the little brother just, like, created a spark.
Works, you just like crush up some beans and you just
stick it in your frog brother and he flies. Easy. Well, you see, I'm gonna give myself a defense for not caring about that, and it's the lamest defense ever. I was too busy laughing because they tried to push the train forward with the fan. And it was, I was waiting for that skit to happen, and it happened.
I was build up with the music too, and it's like, it's like easing you into it, and he just goes, ah,
I just need a tiny little blow, and then slams into the building. It's so great. The comedy in the show was very on point, even during, like, harder parts, but if we're gonna talk about how all 4 of them were captured, I want to talk about the little brother for a second. He has electric powers. He has electric powers, and the Bullhead brothers locked him in an electric warehouse and like, hey, you need to keep your phone out. It could interfere electrically and turn on the machines. What I expected to happen was he uses his electricity, turns on the machines, and breaks out. What I got was he accidentally turned on a light, and someone else saw that light randomly and was like, I will come help.
And to get him out, she was like, "Did you check the walls? There's a latch. You just push it and you're out." Like,
have you tried the door?
Check the walls or you're trapped in a place.
The problem is the kid's so useless. I kind of assumed he wouldn't really.
Kaisei was I feel like Kaisei herself was hardly explained. Like,
she was barely shown until the last
episodes,
and then the main character never got to see her.
Oh, I like she's very small.
I like that he never saw her.
I do
She's
too.
very small, guys.
I liked it.
Add unnecessary romance. And
like
that. But like, I'm also like,
honestly, didn't feel much.
Supposed to be your fiance, but like now you're not. But also, you keep showing up in random places to help, and yet also you're not allowed to leave your room. Apparently,
I get the idea that she cares, but she doesn't care.
Deus Ex Machina character. Yeah.
It was weird to me. She wasn't.
I don't
really
think she was allowed to leave her room except for that last bit.
I don't know. I think she was another like convenient thing to add. Like, oh well, this character's in a spot. What can we do? Oh, Kaisei can show up. Okay. I don't know.
A little
Like
bit of
suddenly there's a ladder coming down from the roof.
Well, that spot was made specifically so Kaisei could be there. There could have easily just been a ladder. That did not seem like a problem.
Or there's just a drawer and Kaisei's there as the drawer, just
I like
to
though
be
how
there.
he finds out the ladder is her though, because he just
yeah.
knows that it's stuck to the window.
Yeah.
I was like, oh hey, that's cool.
Well played.
He's like, well, that's weird.
I guess Tanuki know how to look for other Tanuki, but... Alright,
Yeah.
there's one race of people we haven't talked about at all. We've talked about how Tanuki and humans interact. Tengu.
The Tengu weren't barely even there. Like, I have nothing to say about them.
So
I mean,
was that old guy that eats Tanuki? He had a really long pointed nose. Was he human? Or was he Tengu?
If you eat Tanuki, I believe you're human. But...
So he could be a weirdo.
I'm not
we
gonna lie
never
though.
know. The problem is with this show, they made a point to say, these people could be Tanuki, or they could be Tengu, or they could be human. And they just said that about, like, everybody they ever met.
but it seems to me like Tengu are at the high point of the social order. Like,
Yeah.
there's not many of them, it seems, and I don't think you really get to see them interact with humans, except for Benton, even though she's technically human.
There was that one time their master got annoyed and took out half the city. But
Yeah.
So, can we talk about how Benton comes around? She gets kidnapped.
yes.
14
Uh-huh.
and is raised by this dude until she's like 25.
Yep.
Yeah.
And-
Like,
And
what?
he's just in
And now
love
she
with
can
her.
fly.
Yeah. It's fine. It's
she's
fine.
okay with it. Like she's weird because you don't understand like her motives. and
I
that
still
kinda-
don't
that puts
understand
you
her
on edge.
motives.
But like, I feel like they wanted it to be like she wants revenge for him.
I think she just. I think she was just whimsical. I think she was just that type of character.
Yeah, I
don't
think she was
whimsical's
just
the right
mean.
word. I would use the word capricious. Because I think capricious has a little more nuance to it, because capricious takes in whimsical, they kind of do what they want. They're morally ambiguous, but at the same time, it also means like...
I think she's... Sorry to interrupt you. I think she's a lot like the main character, because the main character kept saying, I just want to live an interesting life. I think she kind of had the same mindset. She's just like, I'm gonna go with the flow and do what I think is gonna make something interesting happen.
A whale tail.
A little whale tail.
Yeah.
I'm unsure. Was she holding that whale above the water? Because that tail should have gone
She
under at
started
some point.
flying up.
Yep.
The tail. So
Yeah.
I thought at first she needed the fan to fly, but
No, she just needs the fan to control weather for funsies.
is it inner piece to fly? Maybe, probably. Isn't that the plot point of something else? Not. I understand transformation, but
This entire series was just her screwing with everyone.
Yeah.
Honestly. But there are a lot of series that are just one character screwing with everyone.
Dragon Ball Z. Dragon Ball Z. You need an inner piece to fly.
Oh yeah, that was dropped pretty quick.
Also, yeah, if you remember when we talked about Rainbow, you were like, you don't like antagonists who just kind of fuck shit up to fuck shit up about, oh, sorry, excuse my language, for, like, without knowing their morals. Like, they're just kind of doing it. I feel like that's kind of what a lot of this show was.
But that's the thing, that wasn't
it's not-
antagonists. That was...
It was Benton.
every-
It's
Everyone.
not. That's not exactly what I meant. I meant specifically characters that are so harsh and mean to
Okay.
a specific group of people for no reason other
Okay.
than, I guess, prejudice.
Okay.
I don't... Like, this... I liked Benton's character because even now I've watched the whole show. I have no idea what her morals are.
Nope.
I know that she eats Tanuki, but I know that she also kind of feels bad about eating Tanuki, but I also know that she loves to eat Tanuki. I know that she cries over the frog's well. I wonder if he's going to keep that well around. I guess not. Rip the
Food
well.
did make me hungry, though.
Their chicken looked glazed with something.
Their chicken...
Made me hungry.
I liked their fried chicken. Their fried chicken just... It looked like you could take a bite out of it and not worry about bones, and I was like, I don't know how you did that, but I'm in.
I
More
also
than
don't
that,
know
it
how-
looked like you could take a bite out of it and the skin wouldn't, like, peel
frog
off.
took a bite out of it with his tongue.
He just put his
Yeah.
tongue out like he was
Yes.
catching a fly, and then like chicken was gone. And I think that was the most beautiful thing I've ever seen.
And there were bite marks.
It was great.
He just took little chunks, even though that's not how chicken works.
Or biting. Or
Yeah.
tongues.
Another point of the animation that
Oh no, I loved that. That was my favorite. I want to give that.
There
I'd
was
give
one
Ed
thing at the end
animation for that. That's fun.
There was one thing at the end that I pointed out to Aaron. By the way, Aaron, my roommate. At the end, when was the last time you guys saw trees that were completely green? Like, completely flat green?
Summer.
As in, like, one color, as if it were a crayon.
Mario Land?
A lot of bushes, actually.
I don't know.
Because while the professor was, like, blowing everything up, blowing, as in wind.
Go on.
I just looked at the background, and some of the trees are fine, but like any tree that actually moved was just a blob of green.
Good.
Those keyframes, though.
Those keyframes, though.
It was just a blob of flat green, and then one other shade of green to show shade.
The
Like,
quality
under it.
factors of the show, maybe?
I don't know.
That just I don't know.
Maybe
I
we're
just looked
supposed
in the
to, like,
background and it was
They're
just
supposed to be like penguin drums, like stick figure people.
Oh, that'll be a show I cannot wait till we get to.
We've got about 8 minutes left, so.
Alright, so is there anything anybody else wants to talk about before we get to our final thoughts and or ratings?
I'm good.
I'm good.
I think we mentioned everything we want to, so with that in mind, we will go over to how we felt about the show. I believe I gave the show an 8.5.
Correct.
Aha! Alright, so my reasoning is as follows. When I tend to read a book or watch a show, I get super into the mindset of the main character. As I've mentioned multiple times in the show, and as I'm sure you guys think I'm an idiot for, I went full Tanuki this time around, and mostly I just...
That's what it means, right?
to be an idiot, touche.
Most people are idiot for.
It's just my idiot blood. I'm gonna make that a thing forever. Watching this show, it didn't feel like I was supposed to think too hard about things. I wasn't supposed to figure out how the world... Like, it kept me wanting to know how the world worked, but it wasn't so much that I was saying, oh, I need you to tell me or else this is bad. It was more of me being like, that was kind of cool. I would like to see some more of it and figure it out, but like, it's interesting, and that's enough for me. I guess as long as it was an interesting show, then I felt it succeeded, and I was always interested. And to me, I don't think every show goes for something incredible. I think some shows just go for what they want to be. And to me, this was that show where it's just... It wanted to be Tanuki goofing around. It had a little bit of a plot, it had a little subterfuge, it had a little bit of everything, but for the most part, the Tanuki did not act human, and I think that's all I could ask from the show. So I gave it an 8.5, and definitely I would recommend it to other people, because it's short, it's fun, and I loved it.
Okay. I guess I'll go next. I actually gave it the lowest score here, despite Steven having lower scores than me.
I almost gave it a 6.5, but
I thought it was enjoyable, but a lot of the times, as I've mentioned before, the weird lack of any rules kind of broke me out of the immersion. And then I started to think, and that's when it started to go wrong.
I need that quote for later.
Yeah. Everything was idiotic, but it was fun idiotic. And, well, except for the last part, which actually had some kind of story. Yeah, it was fun. Go Thomas.
I liked it a lot. I watched through it. I could not keep my eyes off the backgrounds. I always thought the backgrounds just. I just wanted more of each thing. The rooftops, the
City,
like the fall colors, the city. It all did. It all really sounded good, and it put me in the mood for it every time I watched it. So, despite it, I don't know. I enjoyed it. I would recommend it to people, but I definitely see your points holding a lot of weight. But I'm gonna stick to mine.
And I gave it a 7. I almost gave it a 6.5, but I probably would have if I had remembered sooner that I could do 0.5s. That being said, I still highly recommend it. I loved it a lot. I tried to be very objective with my scores, and I stand by all of them. I think they're fair for each category. But overall, I thought it was pretty good. I thought it was above average. I enjoyed watching it a lot. I highly recommend it to anyone if you just want a good, fun show to watch.
And I'm sorry to everyone who's watching. I fucked up on scores. But it's okay. Fixed.
Is that everyone's scores? Alright. So, next week, we have a show brought to you by none other than Steven himself, the man, the myth, the legend, the guy who's making us watch this.
Boo!
It is...
Hey, now.
Fortune Arterial. Let me give us a little thing real fast. Fortune Arterial's story revolves around a male protagonist, blah blah blah, prestigious public school, blah blah blah, Tomatsu Island. Listen, this is giving me nothing. Okay, there we go. It's a bunch of cute girls and they're vampires. Got it. Steven, why?
There's only like 2 vampires, actually.
I see.
So it's another slice of life show.
In a row.
They're on this they're sent to this kind of remote island, and they're vampires. It's kind of like Twilight the anime. It's a slice of life rom-com.
Struggling.
I picked this because I watched it a while ago. It has a good opening.
So
that's enough of watching Steven squirm.
So little warning: half of us have watched this. So
and half of us have fortunately avoided it to this point.
So is it better than Twilight? Is it better than 50 Shades of Grey?
Is it better than 50 Shades of Grey, the movie?
I'm sure.
I've never seen that movie.
I haven't seen it, but I'm sure it's better.
I just know it's notoriety.
But no, it's not. It's not great, but we're watching it.
All right. With that sterling recommendation, I'm lying. No, I can totally wait to get to it, but we'll do it anyways for you guys.
We're doing this for you.
I'm giving my scores now. Twilight out of 10.
Oh boy, this is... I cannot wait to watch Twilight the anime, is I guess all I can say about that.
It's not really like that.
Yeah, it's not. There's surprisingly more to it than that, but it's...
Alright, well, we'll find out when we get there. So that's going to be Fortune Arterial in 2 weeks. Quick update on the channel. I've been working on the script for a new video, so that'll be up eventually. Every time I give you a date, I've lied. So I'm just going to be honest here and say, eventually a video will come up that's not this podcast, but we don't know when. We may be continuing a Let's Play, but I've yet to find a visual novel that holds my attention for like longer than 30 seconds that we're allowed to put on YouTube. So...
I guess we'll continue with this one.
Yeah. We'll continue with the one we're working on for now and hope it interests me a little bit more. I think you guys will definitely like it. I know Allan loves it.
I love it.
So, here's hoping you guys do. I think that's all, so... Thanks for listening to us. Thanks for dealing with our idiot blood. And we will see you all next 2 weeks.
Bye-bye.
Bye.